This is Audible.
Audible Originals presents Mistletoe Murders 4. Written by Ken Kupras. Performed by Kobe Smulders as Emily, Raymond Ablack as Sam, joined by an ensemble cast. Episode 1. A New Chapter. Part 1.
Fletcher's Grove. I can't believe it's been 11 months since I've driven through these streets. The town feels different. For starters, everything's covered in more snow than we've seen in years, and there's snow plow-made mountains everywhere. And there's another glaring difference. So much scaffolding. Most of Main Street's businesses are under construction, with many temporarily closed. The whole place feels empty and a bit eerie. Almost like it's abandoned. It's giving The Shining if it was a town vibes. Apparently, Mosley and Doyle agree. Or disagree, it's really hard to tell. Regardless, they'll be happy we're almost home so they can escape their travel crate. They do not like road trips. I swear I've heard them meow, "Are we there yet?" about 100 times. My store, under the mistletoe, is boarded up too. It's been closed for longer and for very different reasons than the other shops in town. Still, it looks cheerful with the festive sign on the door that reads, "Relaxing at the North Pole. See you soon." I guess soon has arrived. Okay, so I wasn't ready to go into the mistletoe yet. Instead, I came upstairs to my apartment to deal with more pressing matters, namely 2 very hungry cats. Easy, boys. Not so fast, you'll get tummy aches. As my fur babies eat like they haven't been fed in weeks, I look around to see my place is basically as I left it, albeit covered in almost a year's worth of dust. You think my handlers could have come through with a Swiffer once in a while. Thankfully, they did empty the cupboards and fridge. Good thing, because 11-month-old chow mein is serious biohazard. And they left my Christmas tree up, so that saved some time. Oh, it was good to sleep in my own cozy bed again. Oh, I missed the comforts of home while I was away. Truth be told, I missed a lot of things. But one thing at a time. Gotta get out for the essentials, coffee. And, well, coffee, the only real essential. But first, the mistletoe. As much as I'd like to, I can't keep putting off the inevitable. As I glance around my holiday-themed store, I feel like my heart is gonna pound out of my chest. It's hard to believe the juxtaposition between this cheerful shop and what happened here almost a year ago. As I scan the ornament displays, ceramic villages, holiday cards, and Yuletide candles, I struggle to allow my eyes to land on my centerpiece Christmas tree. It's the first time I've seen it since I found Damien's body underneath it, and unfortunately, I remember that night much more clearly than I'd like. As I came in and turned on the lights...
Oh my God! Oh no!
Under the tree lay Damien's bloody and battered body, left like some kind of demented gift. Damien was a colleague, a friend, and, for a brief moment, also a man I loved. The last time I saw him alive, he was freaked out and in some sort of trouble he refused to explain. But he swore he'd fix everything. Oh, and he told me he still loved me. It was, a lot. Whoever killed Damien was sending me a message. I know who you are and where you are. I had no choice but to report it to the counterterrorism unit at the intelligence agency where I used to work in my old life. Within hours, they had arrived to assess the situation.